Today we continue with our class Kosher Kitchen, and we start with Sefer Chofetz Chaim. And today's topic is cynicism. Okay, and it says it is forbidden to relate to a member of the community, family, organization that someone spoke cynically of his group. To do so is a speak rechilus. This is true even when the members of the community, family, or organization regularly joke about themselves. It is common for people to poke fun at themselves, yet be offended when others make similar comments. So let's do it again. So I mean, these people, like in my mind, like they act improperly. Even if you make a joke about because you think that you belong to this group, so still you cannot joke about that, like even about yourself, right? Because the people would think bad about you and about all of the who's related to you. Okay, so again, it is forbidden to relate to a member of the community, family, organization that someone spoke cynically about this group. So meaning they speak cynically about themselves, making joke. That's how we start. So and there is like different jokes about some ethnic groups, right? Jews and non-Jews, right? But we're talking about Jews here. So it starts in 6 p.m. and I'm not going to say that it's irrelevant, but this and this group time. So meaning if they say 6 p.m., it's if you come by 8, you're going to be exactly on time. I mean, they can joke about themselves, and like a few times in my life I had to go to the wedding. I was obligated because I felt that I obligated, but others I did not go. Right, and so I did not realize. So I and it was one of my students was getting married, and I thought let's come on time. Other people, I had to drive other people with me. I thought let's come on time, but what is traffic? It's very, very far from me. Right, it's where Rabbi Mizrahi lives, right? So it's far from me. So I had to drive. I knew how long it takes. Then I added for traffic, this and that. So I became there like 20 minutes, half an hour before the wedding started. Guess what? They started 2 hours later. By the time they start, we said okay. After the chuppah, I don't know, 15-20 minutes later, I said we have to go. I cannot waste so much time. You understand? But except me, everybody knew nobody comes on time. If you just because they call it at 6, so it's going to be around 8. That's normal. I mean, it was during the day, but just saying, right? So they can talk about themselves, right? But since we're not part of the group, and even if they're part of the group, I'm just adding from myself, we should not speak about like this about these ethnic groups or this what is it, shul, or this okay, divisions or something, right? This is even true. Members of that community, family, organization regularly joke about themselves. Okay, it is common for people to poke fun at themselves, yet to be offended when others make similar comments. But I say, if you don't like bad comments you may make of you about you, from others, they just repeat whatever you said. Okay, so you stop it first. The same applies regarding the school. Students who regularly joke about the school or class, often offended when outsiders make similar comments. Okay, so I mean, it's not proper to speak about the school institution, because it's not school. It's not only the building, right? It's a school. It's represented by rabbis or teachers, Rosh Hashiva, other people. It's offense to everybody. Right, and all of the students or other students like they're losers or something. Right, it's not proper. Therefore, mentioning to students that someone spoke negatively about the school is speaking the heels, meaning even if they make themselves jokes. Okay. It should be noted that joking about one's own school generally involves lashon hara, or at least avak lashon hara. Okay, so okay. But in my mind, they put a stumbling block in front of the blind. So if you like these schools so much, or like don't speak bad about it. Right? Okay. Stop here. Any questions on what we said? We'll continue. Okay, no problem. So we continue. So we started book number 4 some time ago. We still it's very, very long introduction, Baruch HaShem, and the topic is the rabbinic ordinances, food prepared by non-Jew. Okay, so we're on topic of it's a big topic, is the same, yes. Rabbinic ordinances against eating foods prepared by non-Jews. So we went to Shkafas things. Okay, so we're on the part where it says the role of Chazal. So let me quickly read. We're not going to explain. We're going to start like explanation later on, because we spent some time last time just for continuation. And it says the Torah was given to Moshe on Sinai, cannot possibly address every situation that may arise in the future generations. Okay. During the Moshe's lifetime, Moshe was able to enter Mishkan at any time and request HaShem clarification at any Torah commandment. However, after Moshe's passing, all of the Torah revelation ended. The prophets who followed Moshe were the moral guardians of the Jews. They transmitted Hashem's reproach and encouragement, meaning more on Hashkaf and not on the Halachah side. But they were not authorized to add, delete prophetically, elucidate any of the mitzvahs. So they were like they were speaking Hashkafa, right, rebuke, but no Halacha. Okay, that's very clear, right? The prophets. How then was the Torah to relate new and changing circumstances over the course of time? What were the Jews to do if some doubts arose regarding any Torah commandment? This is the subject of the following section of the Torah. So, and we continue from here. Okay, so up to this point, we said last time, I'm not going to explain, so we're good. Continue. And it says, the matter of judgment is hidden from you. If the matter of judgment is hidden from you, you shall rise up and ascend to the place that HaShem your God shall choose. You shall come to the Kohanim and Levites, and to the judge who will be in those days. You shall inquire. You shall inquire, and they will tell you that the words of judgment. You shall act according to the words that they will tell you, from that place that HaShem will choose. And you shall be careful to do everything that they will teach you, according to the teaching that they will teach you, and according to the judgments that they will say to you. Shall you do? You shall not deviate from the words that they will tell you, right or left. Okay, I'm not going to read it again, because I think below is explanation, and we're going to add. Keep in mind what it sort of says. It's this passage is from Dvarim, chapter 17, and verses 8 through 11. Okay, so let's see. This in this passage, the Torah commands us that whenever the question arises in the interpretation of the Torah, we must seek the Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim to follow their directives. Failure to heed the directive of Sanhedrin is violation of biblical commandment known as Loi Sasur. You shall not deviate from their decree. This commandment gives Sanhedrin authority to enact legislations expanding upon the Torah prohibitions, or to create completely new prohibitions. For example, an example of the former is the ordinance extending the biblical prohibition of basar bechalav to include fowl cooked in milk. An example of the latter is the innovation of the muktzeh on Shabbos. The Sanhedrin even had the authority to create entirely new mitzvahs, such a mitzvah of lighting Hanukkah lights, and the mitzvah of reading the Megillah. we are biblically obligated to follow all these ordinances and enactments based upon the commandments, lois asur. We recite bracha on the Rabbinic mitzvah, asher kiddushonu b'mitzvot v'tzvan, who sanctifies us through his mitzvahs and commandment us, because HaShem commanded us indirectly through lois asur, to fulfill the ordinances. This was not the only privilege of Chazal, but their obligation as well. Chazal were the guardians, and other guardians, I think, of the spirituality of the Jewish people, and were required to see that the Jewish people not weakened in their adherence to the mitzvahs and their dedication to uphold the Torah. The circumstances warranted, the Sanhedrin had the obligation to enact legislation to create barriers to ensure that we comply with the laws of the Torah. Okay, so let's do this piece, and we're going to explain line by line. We're going to explain. Very interesting. Of course, many of these you probably heard before, but we now put everything in perspective. It's very, very interesting. Okay. And we actually had a clip about a long time ago when one clowness said, "Who put you like in charge of the Torah? Like who made you responsible? Like who told you that you can tell people what to do?" It's very interesting. So we said, yeah, and we brought this word. HaShem said it, right? HaShem said, rabbis, it's their job to see that the Torah is fulfilled in this world, right? He put us in charge. If you miss clowness, very interesting. Okay. So from the beginning, and we're going to explain. This passage of the Torah commands that whenever the question arises in the interpretation of the Torah, we must seek out the Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim and follow their direction. So when you have a question, and it's actually in the Shulchan Aruch, that's how he started about the section about blessings, what blessing to make. And he said, but if what person does not know what blessing to make, it's a very popular question. Can I eat it anyway? And then find out. How sages say, absolutely not. So if you don't know what blessing to make, go and find out. Go find a rabbi. Go find somebody who can teach you. And sometimes, like in olden days, people were not able to, let's say, to go to yeshiva themselves, but they would send kids, right? And kids would know, right? And they would ask their children what to do, right? And I have actually a few families. They became observant, and they learned from a tzaddik boy who is, I don't know, 14, 15 years old, right? But he's been in the yeshiva system for a few years now, so they actually consult him. I mean, sometimes mother does not feel comfortable. She would ask me, but I don't know, majority of things that he told her, it's absolutely right. She's a kosher yeshiva. I mean, that's amazing. Right, so but for other people, go find yourself rabbi. Go find if on today a lot of stuff is available on the internet. You can double check. So, but Shulchan said, what to do if you don't know a blessing? Go ask. And here also we have a question. So don't decide like what is more convenient to me. Right? Go to Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim. Today we don't have Sanhedrin in Yerushalayim. Right? Go to rabbis and ask. Failure to heed the decrees of Sanhedrin, if violation of biblical commandments, you shall not deviate from their decree. So HaShem said, so I'm going to send this rabbi. I'm going to give them Torah. I'm going to give them all of this 13 principle, how to derive the laws from the Torah. I'm going to give them oral Torah, and they would know what to do, right? So and then when person asks a question and he or she did not like the answer, did whatever they wanted, right? So they actually violated the biblical commandments. You shall not deviate from their decree. Okay, sorry, one second. Okay, right. So meaning who is their decree? Rabbi's decree. The same commandments give Sanhedrin authority to enact legislation. Expanded the Torah prohibition. So, right, and same line said that our rabbis, like in their great wisdom, have to build the fences for us, right? Expand upon the Torah prohibitions, right? Especially prohibition, or to create completely new prohibitions. So very interesting. To expand on existing ones, or create completely new. But this completely new would be like something that don't do this because you might get to violate this, right? Example of the former, meaning Sanhedrin, extending legislation. Former is the ordinance extended to biblical prohibition basar v'chalav. So as we said in the beginning of this book, right, when we were discussing basar v'chalav, meat and milk together, so we said originally it's only meat of the animals, right? But sages also included birds, right? Chicken, right, and other birds, kosher birds, right? Because the meat of the chicken is very similar, to the meat, the texture, to the meat of the animals, right? Especially when it's cooked. If you have a stew, of course, sometimes many times you can differentiate by taste, but if they would add I'm just adding, right, many spices, I don't think so. Right, so our sages here, they expounded based on existing prohibition. They expounded to extend it to chicken as well, to fowl as well. An example of the latter, meaning absolutely new prohibition, innovation of laws of the muktzah on Shabbos. So we're not allowed to touch muktzah, right? Because as we said before, if a person touch muktzah, he might get to do melacha. So they say the pen is going to be muktzah. Why? Because some people play with pencil, they don't write. But sometimes they forget that today Shabbos they can write. That's why sage said it's absolutely muktzah. Okay, continue. The Sanhedrin even had the authority to create entirely new mitzvahs, such as mitzvah lighting Hanukkah lights and mitzvah reading Megillah, right? So before that, we're talking about negative mitzvah, right? Meaning that would forbid us do things, right? But here, sages also were authorized to create positive mitzvahs, right? Which is Hanukkah light and reading of Megillah. Right, so reading of Megillah, so men and women obligated to read Megillah. Okay, and all of them obligated to light the Hanukkah light. Right, so meaning even though it's mitzvah that dependent on time, still women also should do it. Okay, continue. So negative mitzvahs, they were allowed to extend the prohibitions. They were allowed to create absolutely new prohibitions. They were allowed to create new positive commandments. We are biblically obligated to follow these ordinances and enactments based on a commandment, right? So, and whatever our sages said, we must do. Very simple. Who said it? I like when they say who said it. Right? HaShem said it. Lo asur. Right? So HaShem said it. You must do it. We recite the brocha on these rabbinical mitzvahs. Asher kiddishanu b'mitzvot savitzavanu. What does it mean? We say that even though we know for sure, lighting Hanukkah candles, right? There is no doubt in anybody's mind, normal person, it's a rabbinic mitzvah. But when we light the Hanukkah candle, we say as the same blessing as we say with something else, that HaShem commanded us to do that. Did HaShem in 5 books of Moshe commanded us light the Hanukkah candles, even though they find allusion, gematria, and this and that? I'm not talking about that. Did he say clearly light the Hanukkah candles? Absolutely not. It was before the Hanukkah days. But because HaShem said that we must listen to the rabbis, and rabbis told us light the Hanukkah candles, so we can say that's what HaShem said. There is no contradiction. Okay. Right, rabbinical mitzvahs. Okay, continue. This was not the only privilege of the Chazal, but their obligation as well. So it's not like a privilege to add new laws, to create the stringency. But it was actually obligations. When you're a rabbi, when you're a posek, when you're some kind of leader, you are responsible for your congregation, your students, that they would follow the proper path. Right, and sometimes like it's not easy. Like for some people, it says, "Yeah, don't do this way because it might lead you to do this." But some people like would not listen. So it's proper to say it is forbidden for everybody. Okay, so it's not their privilege but obligation. Chazal were guardians of the spirituality of the Jewish people, and were required to see that the Jewish people not weaken in the adherence of the mitzvahs and their dedication of holding Torah. So that's meaning what that our Chazal, our sages, were the guardians of spirituality. Guardians of the spirituality, meaning that the way I see it, like when this rabbi, the great sage, can see like 3 steps ahead. Like a generation later, what is going to happen if I'm going to allow this? What is it leading the generation to? You understand? So that's based on this they establish all of these decrees. Right, adherence. But the goal is for people, for the Jews, to adhere to the Torah and mitzvahs and dedication to upholding the Torah. That's the main goal. So, and whatever needed to be done, so they were responsible to do. If the circumstances warranted, the Sanhedrin had the obligation to enact legislation to create barriers, ensure that we comply with the Torah laws. So, right. So if they have power, right, to create this legislation, sometimes the governments that were ruling over us would not allow this and that. So. Or people would not agree, or people were dispersed too much. So, okay, so a different story. But whenever it was possible, they would, circumstances warranted, they would create these legislations. Okay. So we finished this part. Any questions on what we said? Yes, go ahead.
There's a question on the board.
Yes.
Since we don't have Sanhedrin today, do sages still have the authority and responsibility to enact expanding legislation or create completely new prohibitions to protect the generation? If so, who is acting as a Sanhedrin today?
Okay, that's an amazing question. So we don't have Sanhedrin today, and we don't have even anything similar to Sanhedrin. So since we were in exile, we so like divided. So nobody would listen to anybody. So this group would adhere to this their leader. This group would adhere to their leader. So basically, there is no such central legislation system, right? But every community leader can enact something, right? And they can forbid, and they can establish kashrut, and for example, minimum standard for kashrut even in our neighborhood. So if you want to for our people to go to your restaurant, so you have to subscribe to the kashrut from our neighborhood. And I have this kihila kihila kashrut. I'm not going to mention the name, but yeah, we have local. So meaning the most important rabbis, they got together and say, we're going to oversee, we're going to create separate institution because all of the religious people are going to adhere to this standard. And if this restaurant goes restaurant store goes below the standard, so we don't want them in our neighborhood. I mean, they can stay as a non-kosher. I mean, we're not going to evict them or something, but we're not going to provide them with the kashrus. Right, or what else? It was famous, in Hasidic, it's much easier, right? It's Hasidic real ones that have Rebbe. So Rebbe said, and they do. It's very simple. That's the advantage of having Rebbe, having one central government. You understand? It was a few famous stories. One of them, these people who was Streimel, this furry head, they decided to raise the price. I mean, the people buying, so why don't raise the price? And they raised little by little, and it was almost double like in a short period of time. It was ridiculous. So people have like, there are not so many suppliers. So Rabbi called them. I'm not going to say which one. Told them to his office and said tomorrow, starting tomorrow, you're going to bring prices. So he investigated why they raised the price. Of course, the people lied. So he said, look, it's not a good explanation. So you're making money. We allow you to stay in our community. So please drop the prices tomorrow to what was some time ago, right? And if you can, reimburse people who bought from you. It's very interesting. They say, Rabbi, this and that. So I'm going to tomorrow, if you don't listen, I'm going to make a statement, right? Public statement. So in our Hasidus, we're going to stop wearing shtraimel completely. How about that? Guess what? They changed the prices to the normal. You understand? But it was a Rebbe who can say, and all Hasidim would listen. Or same was some time ago with fish. You understand? These stores, like they raise the price, for example, for a Pesach, right? Chicken for Pesach, like 3 times, not 3, like double price. Why is it double price? So if you go to non-Jewish store, supermarket, right? It's same kosher chicken. I mean, maybe different kind, but say glad kosher 100%, right? Same price all year around. The big store, the supermarket would not understand this shtikelach. It's a Pesach, not Pesach. Okay, you want to deal with us, you have to give us stable price. Don't go this on us. You understand? And it's ridiculous. Kosher supermarket, not being kosher the way I see it, because there is a price double. It should not be. Absolutely, there is no reason whatsoever to make it double. Right? You want to raise, I don't know, like 10%, 15%. I don't know, like that's it. But double, not good. And for me, the same, like double price for nothing. Right? You go to different stores, like a normal. So where I buy from my butcher. So sometimes, a few years, I call him. I said, well, what about the price? He said, please stop it. Price is exactly the same. During the year on Pesach, prices is exactly the same. Okay, guess what? He has a line going out of the store. Of course, you try to make appointment with him when there is nobody there, but basically they say exactly the same prices. Yeah, you understand? But if it would be like strong leader, and people would listen to him, there is no problem. But otherwise, everybody their own boss. Nobody wants to accept to their rabbis or something. Okay, that's the thing. So today we don't have a central authority, but Hasidim is the best organized people. Baruch HaShem. Hasidim that have rabbis, not others who don't have rabbis. Everybody, the cowboys, they do whatever they want. Okay. What else? Any other questions?
Very much, Kol.
Okay.
There's one more question, but it's on Purim, so I don't know if you want to wait for
okay.
it.
Yeah, well, let's wait. Did they answer everything? Was it like part I did not answer? Could you please repeat? I apologize. Repeat.
Oh, yeah, you answered the entire
Okay, no problem. Okay, so thank you very much. So continue. So we start next part, the subsection, and the title is The Mindset of Chazal. So, and me personally, I like to learn like the logic behind like all the back and forth and how they derive this, like the sources. Me personally love it. Many people say, okay, please, Rabbi, please stop. Just tell me what to do. Is it yes or is it no? But you see, when like Chazal, HaShem wants us to learn all of these arguments back and forth in order to understand the divine logic. And when you understand divine logic, many times you can derive halachah like further, like extend to other circumstances when you know where's the base of it. Okay, the mindset of Chazal. Chazal fully grasped the negative impact of any avera. They understood its profound effect upon the individual perpetrator, upon the collective body of Klal Israel, and upon the cosmos itself. In our ignorance and short-sightedness, we cannot fully comprehend the damaging effect of the accidental Hilul Shabbos or unintentional eating non-kosher food. We may feel fleeting moment of remorse, but we quickly forget the incidents and go on with our lives. The Torah views this very differently. Every Avera has lasting negative impact upon the purity of our neshama that must be cleansed through Teshuvah. In introspective analysis of the causes and realistic plan of avoiding its recurrence in the future, and at times its proper repentance and purging oneself of damage. So there is a note I'm going to leave for later. Chazal understood this not as a mere theory, but the actual and real. To them, even the accidental violation of Shabbos was extremely serious matter. Okay, so and then they give us example. Before we go into example, let's examine this paragraph. We explain. So it says Chazal grasps the negative impact of the Aveira. And the wisdom of the person, so the more the wisest of the person is, the more learned of the person is, the more that he knows like who is HaShem is, what Torah is, what my purpose in life is, the more he is afraid of the sin. For example, the example that I like to give. So like it's very rarely when adult person, like normal, I'm not talking suicidal, but normal person would like fall out of the window, unless they were drunk or something. But otherwise, it never happened. But it happened many times. So children fall out of the window, right? So where I live, there is a code. If you have a child, and the tenant, if you're a tenant in somebody's apartment, so they may require, and you must comply, have to install the window guard, like this thing, so no child would fall out. Like it's like government law, so you're not allowed. So like if they ask you and you don't comply, so they can complain to government, you're going to have a big fine. Not a good idea, right? Why? Because children, because they don't have brain, like they have brain, but they don't have a lot of wisdom. They do not understand danger. That they can fall out, right? So a person that the less understanding that they have, the less they understand the danger they're dealing with. But person who learn it in Torah, who learns Torah every day, who knows the ways of HaShem, so he or she understand that the magnitude of each Avera. Okay. So then, of course, our sages understood, grasped the negative impact of any Avera. They understood the profound effect upon the individual perpetrator, upon collective body over Israel. So who is going to suffer? Of course, the person is going to suffer, and not only person, the whole Klal Israel, and upon cosmos itself. So as the Rambam tells us in Hilchas Teshuvah, so he explained every person must see himself as a 50-50. So 50% righteous, 50% not righteous, right? And meaning what? So the next thing that I'm going to do, so my eternity depends on what? On the next decision. If I'm going to do mitzvah, so I'm going to have more mitzvahs. And then I'm going to be righteous. So I'm good. Meaning what? So we have a rule that who is a righteous person, who has a majority of the good deeds, right? And who is a rasha, who has majority of the bad deeds. Majority is one. It's not 99 against one. No, majority. So who is a tzaddik? So say who is a tzaddik, who has more mitzvahs than others. It's very, very, very simple. Okay, so meaning the person has to see him as the one in balance, 50-50, and plus he has to see the whole Klal Israel, the nation of Israel, as 50-50. So now, if I'm going to sin, so the whole nation is going to be at fault. If I'm going to do Avera, so I'm going to bring the benefit to the whole nations, right? And plus, of course, on the cosmos itself, right? Because all the decree, whatever comes from above, they were actually inspired, or inspired and affected what happened here. So from here we send up whatever our action, and based on the action, so they make a decree and send back. So it's not like some people, it's from Shammai. Yeah, it's from Shammai, but guess what? It's because of you. Yeah, it's from Shammai, but it was like a reflection of our actions. So that's and like when people have this this thing in mind, so it's easier to understand. What do you mean you forgot to say Birkas Hamazon? Like how was it possible that you forgot? Right? You know what happened in the worlds above, like right? That you forgot. You know what damage you create to you incur to Klal Israel, to your body, right? So that's when we keep this in mind. Right, it's you see the mitzvahs and averas in totally different light. In our ignorance and our short-sightedness, we cannot fully comprehend the damage effect of accidental Hilul Shabbos. So again, nobody does it in purposely, even accidental Hilul Shabbos, right? Or unintentional eating non-kosher food. So a person did not know. I don't know. Okay, so the different circumstances. We don't judge anybody. So I accidental. Is it kosher? Not kosher? They bought it. Then found out that it's not kosher. So what are you going to do? Are money going to waste? You're going to give to somebody to eat, or what? So like what few times in our life things that were not kosher. Like I don't know. Few times it says on a package kosher, but it was not kosher. Or some flavors were kosher and some flavors was not kosher. So a few times it was our mistake. So and it was during Corona, and we brought to the store and they say, "Well, I apologize, we don't accept the food." I don't know what is the policy. Like you see, it's sealed. The package was sealed. Say we're not going to accept. Whatever. So we gave it to our neighbors, nice people. Okay. So what are you going to do, right? I mean, here it was intended, like we did not know, but some people say, why should it go to waste? You understand? So, okay, not kosher food. We may feel the moment of remorse, but quickly forget the incident and go with our life. So, it was not kosher. I did not check this and that. Okay, but after the event, so she feels sorry for exactly 17 seconds, and okay. So the next question, should I say the blessing after it? Stop it. The Torah view this very differently, right? Every avera has lasting negative impact upon the purity of neshama. So all of this, all of the sins, it's like they put like a thin film, right, on our soul, and sometimes it's like after some time it becomes so thick, it's like unpenetrable. So some people they have no feelings, they have no understanding, have nothing, right? Because this klipa, they call it klipa, this shell is so thick. Okay, different. We said that neshama that must be cleansed through the Shiur. So of course you can cleanse it, but first of all, with this thick klipa, you have to be on a level to understand that something is wrong. Okay. In introspect, so it can be it must be cleansed through the Shiur. Introspective analysis of the causes. So all of the things that a person thinks, so all of the thoughts of the person have root in their will. So it's if person desires something, he would have thoughts. She would have thoughts. If they don't desire something, they're not going to think about it. Okay. So first, person want it, and then they have thoughts, and these thoughts are always biased. Always biased. Why? Because they're actually based on the will that happened before. Okay. So and always in all our when we do teshuva, and that's I'm trying to help people. I mean, who needs my help to find the root cause. Why exactly you are doing that? So to do teshuva for one time, that's fine. You can do it yourself. But to find the root cause, what brought you to this position? Why you were in this position? Why this thought even crossed your mind? Okay, that's what he's saying. Okay. right? In introspective analysis causes and a realistic plan to avoid its recurrence in the future. So stop here is good. Understand that it was wrong is good, but you must prevent, so a third step, from occurrence in the future. So take step if it's for forbidden relationships. So don't go there. As we said, block all these people. So who ask you to come for their birthday party or something, right? Or don't go to the store. So I in a fruit store where I go, it's not fruit store. It has daily, like a small supermarket, but they have very good quality fruits, like fruits, vegetables, not expensive, but they sell everything else. So they have a kosher smoked fish, maybe kosher, maybe not. Guess what? It's an old box. So maybe they get it in a huge box, and that box like in the freezer, not the freezer, there in the refrigerator, maybe in a showcase. Maybe it's original. It's not original. It's old. Maybe it is kosher, but it's not sealed. You understand? So from people like that, I would not buy. Right? Even they say, yeah, it's from this company, and we have other products, and you see the other products are sealed. This is not sealed. This smoked fish, I'm not going to buy. Doesn't matter. Good price, not good price, I'm not going to, because we don't trust them. Right? So that's what you do. You bought once, and then you find out it was not kosher because the people do not care. So you have to make a realistic plan to avoid this recurrence in the future. Whatever you do, right? But it must be realistic. And at times the proper penance to purge ourselves of its damage, right? So to purge ourselves of its damage, so as we said, the damage is also to make a restitution if it's between the person and another person. Okay, so let's see, there is a commentary. At time of the Beis Hamikdash, one who non-deliberately violated Shabbos was required to bring Chatas offering for each violation. According to Rishonim, the concept behind Chatas offering was that everything done to the animal should have done to the perpetrator. Right? See Orach Chaim 334:26, who state that one who inadvertently violates Shabbos should give a sum of money to charity equal to amount necessary to purchase she-goat for a Chatas offering. See Mishnah Berurah, chapter 80. Sirama, who notes that one who wishes to eradicate the impact of non-deliberate violation of Shabbos must fast 40 days for each violation. Nowadays, we do not usually recommend fasting. Rather, the sincere teshuva, coupled with a regimen of the Torah study of the law of Shabbos, is the most powerful means of cleansing oneself of any harmful effect on Shabbos violation, of the Shabbos violation. However, it is clear that one cannot simply walk away in even non-deliberate Shabbos violation. So let's do this again, and we're going to explain. Very well written. So again, and we're going to explain. At the time of the Beis Hamikdash, one who non-deliberately violated the Shabbos was required to bring Chatas offering for each violation. So the person, like today, they lean on a wall and they turn on or off the light. Okay. So if it were biblical, of course, it's different story. But of course, it's not non-intentional. Some people they come to somebody's apartment and then lean to the wall, like they talking like that. I understand why. Like I see you the first time. It's like if you're like a member of the family, it's also not proper. Some people cannot stay straight. I don't know why. So I saw it several times, many times actually. Doesn't right. Okay. So meaning what? So the person just lean in, of course he or she did not mean to violate the Shabbos. So now in the ties of the Beis Hamikdash, they would say that to bring Chatas offering. So guess what? In olden days, you have to bring this she-goat, or maybe take money and go to Yerushalayim. If you have a donkey, good is the horse or something. So you have to stop in the middle wherever you do. Take 1 week, 2 weeks to go there takes one week to 2 weeks to go back, and then you have to stand in line, and maybe 2 days and 3 days. I don't know. You have to find the lodging, and you have to eat there. So so in order to bring the sin offering, so she got. I don't think it's cheap. I don't know how much it costs today. Live weight, of course, is much cheaper than the meat, but still, right? It's the full animal. Okay. So okay. So that's one thing. So first of all, it's money, and then wasted time that you were not able to work. So according to Rishonim, this concept behind Chatas offering was that everything done to the animal should be done to the perpetrator. So, and that's why a person must watch whatever how they slaughter, how they capture the blood from the throat and stuff like that, sprinkle all of these things, how they fillet it and stuff like that. Why? Because actually it was supposed to be that person. This she-goat or whatever animal did not do anything, right? It's right. It's not their fault that you lean on the switch. It's your fault. So technically, that's what was supposed to be done to you, but it was substituted by this animal. So it has to stick in our mind that's from what we were said. So if you know that there is consequences, so next time you should be more careful. The Rema who writes that one who inadvertently violates Shabbos should give some money charity equal to the amount necessary to purchase she-goat and Chatas offering. Right? So it's not so simple, right? So meaning I don't know how much is she-goat, maybe $200, $300. I have no idea, right? So it's a lot, right? So it's not $18, $10, $3. It's not going to be enough, right? Sirima there, who notes that one who wishes to eradicate impact or non-deliberate, we're not talking deliberate, non-deliberate violation of Shabbos must fast 40 days for each violation, right? So meaning to take away the stain from the Shabbos. Okay, so that's Halachah. Arima is Ashkenazi authority on Shulchan Aruch. So he said we jump. Okay. Nowadays, we do not usually recommend fasting because, as we said many times, people are not as strong. So, I mean, if they would not be able to perform the whole day, would not be able to pray with concentration, to learn Torah, it was useless. So, the people would not get the message. Right. Rather, the sincere teshuvah, coupled with regiment of this Torah study of that law of Shabbos, is the most powerful meal of cleansing oneself of any harmful effect of Shabbos violation. So you give money, and instead of fasting, so you can do what? You can do Torah study, right? Exactly this topic, so would not happen to you before, because if you would not know all of the law, all of the consequences, you would never do that. So if you're talking about this, switches, so we have special switch covers, right, on the magnets, and it close the switch. So sometimes automatically you're going out of the bathroom, you want to turn it off, but then you say, today's Shabbos. So yeah, guess what? You touch the cover. I mean, it happened to me. I don't know, happens to me every year, maybe 4 or 5 times every year minimum. Maybe I don't think more, but at least 4 or 5 times happened. You tired in the middle of the night. You forgot it's Shabbos and you touch. It's covered. Okay, so guess what? Today's Shabbos. So all of these things we must do to protect ourselves. Okay, and of course learn these halachas. However, it is clear that one cannot simply walk away from even in a non-deliberate Shabbos violation. So is that? I'm sorry, that's not going to work. So we have to do some things that would ensure that we're never going to do it again. Chazal understood this not as a mere theory, but as actual real means, actual and real, in this teshuvah, right, and these consequences of our sins. To them, even accidental violation of Shabbos was extremely serious matter. Okay, So let's do. Any questions before we continue? Because I want to start next section. Questions? Okay, so we continue. Wow, I can't. Yeah, go ahead.
How many times are we obligated to let Birkat Hamazon each day?
Obligated? We're not obligated at all. So I mean, we're only obligated to recite Birkat Hamazon only when we eat bread. So I personally do what our sages say. They say jump, I jump. It's very simple. It's very beneficial for a person to eat past shacharis. So meaning what? It's a bread in the morning. So I mean, me personally, I try to do mizones in the morning. So it's also, according to many opinions, past shacharis. But at least like in my dinner time, I always eat bread. I want it done. It's irrelevant. So it's must eat bread. Why? Because first of all, for satiation. And second of all, in order to say Birkat Hamazon. So I try to do minimum one time. So on Shabbos day, it's 4 times. Okay. I mean, 3 times 3 meals and plus Milova Malka. So, but otherwise, like same with Shkita. Are you obligated to do Shkita? No, if you wanted to eat meat. So if you're never going to eat meat, so you're not obligated to eat Shkita. So there is a positive commandment, but only if you put yourself in that circumstances. Okay. What else?
Very much.
Okay. Okay, so let's do example. Let me start. Let's stop. Okay. So consider following example. When Rosh Hashanah occurs on Shabbos, Chazal decreed that shofar is not blown. The Talmud explained that Chazal were concerned that if shofar is blown on Shabbos, perhaps someone may forget that it is Shabbos and carries shofar in the public domain and thereby violate Shabbos. Okay, so let's continue reading and then we're going to explain. Let us reflect upon the mitzvah of shofar. The blowing of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah has a profound impact on the heavenly judgment and takes place on that day. Chazal explained that the sound of shofar, so to speak, reminds a heavenly tribunal of Akedah Yitzchak that tips the scale of the judgment in our favor. Needless to say, this is but one small insight into the mitzvah. The relationship of shofar to Rosh Hashanah is even more profound. The Torah refers to Rosh Hashanah as Yom Teruah, right? The day of Teruah blast. Since the name always connotes the essence of the subject, the sound of shofar is apparently linked to very essence of the Rosh Hashanah. Thus, when Chazal forbade blowing on Shabbos, they altered the fundamental nature of the day. That the Rosh Hashanah without shofar in effect does the missing shofar blast have the heavenly What is Rosh Hashanah without shofar, and what effect does the missing shofar blast have on the heavenly judgment? Mindful of this, Chazal nevertheless decreed that shofar not be blown on Rosh Hashanah when Rosh Hashanah occurs on Shabbos, because someone somewhere might forget and carry shofar in the public domain. Okay. So let's do it again. We're going to explain. So about Rosh Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah is 2 days, right? And this year, if I remember correctly, this year was the first day of Rosh Hashanah coincided with Shabbos. Okay. So we did not blow in the first day, but we blew on the second day. Okay. So one more time. When Rosh Hashanah occurs on Shabbos, Chazal decreed the shofar not blown. So that's in a Beis Hamikdash. I mean, it does not say here, but in a Beis Hamikdash, different laws apply, and they were because there was great Sanhedrin there, so they would they would rebuke person, they would stop them from carrying in the public domain. So that was different. Actually, because Yerushalayim had Eruv, so and plus it's not on Yerushalayim, it's on in a Beis Hamikdash. So this law apply only not in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay. When Rosh Hashanah coincided with Shabbos, the Talmud and the Chazal were concerned that shofar was blown on Shabbos. Perhaps someone may forget that it is Shabbos and carry the shofar in the public domain and thereby violate Shabbos. So Chazal thought, so maybe somebody would ask, remember, I forgot how to blow. Let me bring to my teacher and let him show me how to blow again. I mean, he told me last year I remember, but now I don't remember. A person would take the shofar into public domain, meaning going to his teacher, or he would go to the synagogue. And for example, he was supposed to bring before, he was responsible for shofar blowing, and he forgot it in the house. So now he has to go home and bring outside. Okay, so that's our sages say, don't do it. Okay, so it's very interesting. They say if even one person in all the generations, starting from today, right, until the end of the time, if only one person carries of the shofar in a public domain, it's not worth it. So they cancel this mitzvah for all of the generations, for all of the people. That's how it's important. That's the explanation, at least for me, right? How this our sages, great Chazal, understood the impact of each avera on this individual and the whole nation and the cosmos. Okay, let us reflect on the mitzvah of shofar. The blowing of shofar on Rosh Hashanah has profound effect on the heavenly judgment that takes place on that day, right? So, meaning on Rosh Hashanah we ask HaShem, remember Akeda Yitzchak, and it's actually one of the Torah reading, right? That we do on Rosh Hashanah, and why is exactly that? So, right? Because in some sense, right, this instead of Yitzchak, Abraham burned this ram, right, and from horn he made shofar, right, and he made shofar, and one of the rams is going to be in the Mashiach is going to blow, not Mashiach, Eliyahu Hanavi is going to blow in that into the second ram, second horn. Okay, so the judgment that we announce, HaShem, we want you to be our king. That's the theme of Rosh Hashanah, shofar and kingship. Okay, continue. Chazal explained that sound of Rosh Hashanah, so to speak, reminds a heavenly tribune of Akeda Yitzchak. So not in our merits, but in merit of our forefather Yitzchak, that tips the scale of the judgment in our favor. So, right, because we're his descendants. Okay. Needless to say this, but one small insight into the mitzvah. Okay, so that's, okay, what insight? The relationship of shofar and to Rosh Hashanah is even more profound, right? So, connection, like it's the day of judgment, right? So when something important is going on, like in all the days, they would blow the horns, right? Horns or trumpets. The Torah refers to Rosh Hashanah as Yom Teruah, right? Yom Teruah, the day of the Teruah blast. Okay, so that's how Torah calls Rosh Hashanah. Since the name always connotes the essence of the subject. So many times you just see the title of the Torah lecture, for example, or a clip, and you have some idea what is it about. Am I going to see or not, watch or not, right? So here is why, because of course sometimes they lie in the titles, of course, right? Or it can be or whatever, right? But Torah calls something that's essence, right? Same as animal names or others, right? It's essence. Right, so when the Torah calls the day of Teruah blast, so that's how important this blowing horn, right? Since the name always connotes this essence of the subject, the sounding of the shofar apparently linked to the very essence of Rosh Hashanah. Thus Chazal forbade shofar blowing on Shabbos. They altered fundamental nature of the day. So when Torah calls it the blowing of the trumpet, right, or of the trua, right, the sound of the trua. Trua is one of the sound, right? And Chazal, in their great wisdom, say we're going to, even though it is the essence of the day, how do you know by name? Despite of that, we're going to abolish this custom. No longer on Shabbos. On Shabbos, we're no longer going to blow the shofar. What is Rosh Hashanah without shofar, and what effect does this missing shofar have on the heavenly judgment? Right, shofar blast. Like, okay, so how can Rosh Hashanah be without blowing over the shofar, and how it's going to affect the heavenly judgment if you say it's so essential? Mindful of this, Chazal, so they knew all of the details. They weighed all of the yes and for and against, and they decided, right, nevertheless, they decreed the shofar not be blown on Rosh Hashanah. Right, that if Rosh Hashanah occurs on Shabbat, because someone, this key line, someone, somewhere, doesn't matter, in all the generations to come, may forget and carry the shofar into the public domain. So we, as the rabbis, decreed, so we're not going to blow Rosh Hashanah, shofar on Rosh Hashanah, just to protect them from the sin. And many people, they don't have concept carrying, not carrying on Shabbos. They do carry, they do whatever they do. You understand? So they don't take it seriously because they have exactly zero knowledge. But but our rabbis in the great wisdom said absolutely not. We're not going to carry. You understand? So that's who our great sages are. Okay, we can stop here. Any questions on what we said or did not say? Go ahead. Okay. Go to questions. Yes, go ahead. Yes, listen.
Does that mean we have a guarantee that Mashiach won't arrive on Shabbat?
I actually had this clip. Had this clip. And in the clip, it's actually from Talmud Pesachim. I think we released it, maybe, I don't remember. So, and then this clip said that it's like the whole discussion. If you can burn, so we have to get rid of the chomets, right? You have to. Okay. So you have to get rid of the chomets. So some of them would be like pure and some questionable, right? So truma, right? So truma that only Kohen can eat. So of course we are Kohanim, for example, but we cannot eat so much. So we have to destroy. So can you destroy together impure with pure, because it's going to be destroyed, or you have to do something else? So they say give it to Kohen. Why do you have to destroy? Like if it's pure, it's pure. It's not proper to make truma. Knowingly impure. Okay, so they say, okay, well, what if we don't have Kohen, right? So and Pesach falls on Shabbos. Pesach falls on Shabbos. So meaning you have to destroy on Friday. So, but on the beginning of Shabbos, you're allowed to eat chomets, right? So they say maybe there are guests staying behind the Shabbos wall, the city wall. They're going to come on Shabbos. Say no, they're not going to come because we already checked. Most likely there are no Kohanim there. So okay, but Eliyahu Hanavi can come and he can declare that this chomets is pure, and this is impure. So he can clarify, and that this is not going to happen. Why is that? Because it says it's not going to happen that because if Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come before Shabbos, he's going to disrupt the preparation of Jewish people for Shabbos. And this cannot be. The Yom Tov, the Shabbos is so important that even Eliyahu Hanavi, that we have been waiting for 2,000 years, right? A very long time. He's not going to come. Why? Because it's very important to observe Shabbos. It's very important to prepare for Shabbos properly, Yom Tov as well. Understand? So that's when I was reading, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. That's material for a clip. Okay. All right. What else?
Thank you. There's two questions on the board, but they're from the previous.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Any topic is good. Any topic.
So, since women are not obliged to go to the synagogue, and it is obligatory to listen to Esther's Megillah, it is very possible that the only way to listen to it is in the synagogue. If this is the only possibility, how to avoid the dinner that usually they have at synagogues, especially synagogues of emerging communities of converts that usually have these Purim dinners? Or is there a possibility for the wife to listen to her husband's Megillah in a language other than Lashon Kodesh? Thank you very much for that.
There are a few parts of the question, so let's try to. So women are obligated to listen to Megillah. It is true. If husband can read it, it must be from the scroll. So from printed. Like if we read it from the printed text, and that doesn't matter, Hebrew, not like the different language, it's not going to work. So it must be from a printed scroll. So, but sometimes, like in the place where I live, sometimes they have ladies only groups that they can get together. So and one lady can read. So they're always like talented women. They can read, so she can actually can do a blessing on the Megillah. Right, since they're obligated, same as men. And then dinner, just so you know, I'm not sure what person said. Dinner is usually on the next day. So like how that's how it works. We fast on the 14th of 13th of Adar, right? On the 14th is like at night, right? It's going to be Purim. So after we finish, so we fast until the nightfall. At nightfall we have Megillah reading, and after Megillah reading, there is no mitzvah of Seudah. The meal is a mitzvah on Purim is actually during the day and afternoon. It's not during that day. If people have a dinner, like a lavish dinner on that day, it's nothing. It's I guess they ate, but there is not fulfillment of the mitzvah of eating, right? So again, I know that people say so, but the obligation to give gifts to the friends is actually next day, not the night before, and like in the morning usually I exchange the gifts. And on the next day, and on the afternoon, they usually have a meal. Some people closer to the evening, whatever they do, doesn't matter. Then it extends. Was it anything else that we did not cover from this question? Please, okay. Please tell me.
I think that covers everything. Listen to the wife. Is there a possibility for the wife to listen to her husband's Megillah in Lashon Kodesh?
No.
Language other than Lashon Kodesh?
No. We said no. It must be. Even if the people can read from the text, it must be from this scroll. So I have to be proficient, and usually it's proper for a person to recite with proper cantillation, not just read. Okay. Musical notes.
Thank you, Lala. Next question is related to the Sanhedrin. On the same topic, when a sage instituted a prohibition for the community temporarily, can sages of the generation dismiss the prohibition later? For example, can Rabbi Ovadia dismiss the prohibition of gil in a certain community?
Rabbi Ovadia dismissed the giur in certain community?
The prohibition against gil. I think we're talking about the Takana by the Syrian community.
Okay. Yes. Okay. apologize. Could you please read it again? I'll do it in parts. I think okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Into parts.
Shalom Kulav. On the same topic, when a sage instituted a prohibition for the community temporarily, can sages of the current generation, dismiss the prohibition later? For example, can Rabbi Ovadia Zatzal dismiss the prohibition of Shiur in certain communities?
So usually, so it's very interesting. So I'm not sure how this the exact the language of that prohibition was stated. So was it temporarily only, or was it permanent? It was without like expiration date. So it's very, very different. Usually we say that if the sages, like a court, based in makes an enactment, and most of the people cannot follow it for whatever reason, it was not generally accepted, so that they can stop it, or the next based in, like in the same generations on the same level, they can stop it, because you see, our goal is not to make the sage's goal not to make people sinners, right? Because if they say you must do this and this, and people are not going to do so, as we said today, in the eyes of HaShem, these people are going to be sinners. Like it's not good. That's not what sages want. They didn't want to create obligation to Jewish people, right? They want to do the opposite. As we said today, they want to protect Jewish people from Averas. Right, so, but this enactment, I'm not sure how it was said. I'm not sure. I heard about it many times. I'm not sure how it was said. But I don't. Did they listen to him? Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm not sure. But if he said it, if he said he felt in his power that he can annul. So I mean, who am to comment on this? It means that he could. But the thing is, if people actually follow it or not. And that's a very important thing. Okay. What else?
Next question.
And one second, I apologize, but it was not Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin is like when you have a base Hamikdash, or sometimes without it, like 70 sages plus one, 71 sages, the top of the line. So one rabbi is not exactly Sanhedrin, right? So that's a big difference. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, I think that was my mix-up. It was saying the same topic, but I think I made an assumption. Okay, here it says, next question. Shalom Kolam, question about modesty. I wonder if those dangling earrings are modest. How about those small ear cuffs that are not clip-on earlobes, but the side of the ear?
I'm not sure about the second, but the big earrings. So I mean, they were provocative, like, and they attract a lot of attention. So when I go to Mincha, so while it is cold, so I always press for time. So I do shortcut. I go like through the main street, and sometimes there is like people from high school. At this time they finish. They walking. So sometimes there is a bus stop where all of these people board the bus. So sometimes I have to go on the road to walk around. But I see this. Like in the corner of my eyes. So sometimes you have to walk around because these people come to walk and they do something on their cell phone. So sometimes you will have to raise your eyes, otherwise you're going to bump into them. So I saw many times huge earrings. No, it's not modest for sure, right? And some people do these eyelashes. I don't know. That's too much. That's too much. Like small clips. If it's not clips, or if it's not too provocative, there is no problem. Gold, even, I don't know. Silver, I don't know. Like sparkling, there is no problem. Small ones.
Thank you for the love.
You're welcome.
Next question here says, Shalom Kulav, question about non-Jews allowed to hear the Megillah on Purim with a Jewish friend?
There is no problem whatsoever. There is no problem, no. Especially when it's written in Hebrew, they would not understand. If they have translation, are they going to get offended to you? Usually, the people don't draw the parallels. So that's right. So they say, oh, the Persian, this Persian is somebody in Iran, right? Oh yeah, okay. So that's not a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are non-Jews allowed to give a basket for Purim to a Jewish friend, or are they not allowed to receive it?
That's a very good question. So are non-Jews allowed to give a basket to non-Jews to a Jewish friend? They can give the basket. How is going to? I mean, it's the question is it's not such a simple question. I mean, the basket on Purim. I guess they can. So I'm just going by logic here. I don't see anything inappropriate, and as a return of like courtesy, gesture, so this Jew also can give something to non-Jews. So because he benefited, it's like reciprocal. So it's not a free gift, right? In return of something. So I guess no problem. Maybe in a public, if it's going to be in a public place, I would not recommend like this, because other people can get confused. Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Next question. Here. Shalom Kolav. Since this year Purim is on Sunday, do we fast on Thursday? Do we read Megillah on Thursday night?
One second. Purim is on Sunday this year. So okay, that's a very, very good question. So I think so we read Megillah on a night when we after the fast. The fast ends. I mean, but we don't need, unless somebody is very thirsty, like somebody like weaker health. I mean, right? Because we want them to concentrate on hearing the Megillah. If a person is almost to pass out, right? I know some people like that. So I mean, of course, let them drink. If they need to eat a little, so just a little something to not to feel very hungry. So there is no problem. I'll let them concentrate on hearing. Right. So everything is going to be on Thursday. So I did not look what's going on. And other mitzvahs, meaning what giving the money to the poor, right? The meal and everything is going to be on Sunday then, right?
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Next question says, are non-Jews allowed to say Amen if we hear someone saying a brocha?
Absolutely, yes. Amen meaning what? Kel. I'm mispronounced the first word. Kel Melech Ne'eman, right? So HaShem is a trustworthy God. Yeah, that's meaning He's going to fulfill. Right? That's very, very strong. Very strong statement. Actually, I saw in ArtScroll, and I never bought it. I don't need it. I don't have time for that. But there is a book. I'm not sure how many pages, but there is a book, Power of Amen. Right? There is a book. So that's a very, very deep insight. Of course, as we said, here sages wrote volumes and volumes on any topic. Right? So, right. Okay. So there is no problem for non-Jews to say Amen. No problem. So, okay.
Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Your next question is Shalom Kolav. Question about modesty.
Mm-hmm.
I learned women should not have graphics or letters on their clothing, and I wonder if this also applies to bags, assuming the writing/graphics are not immodest. Thank you, Baba.
So graphics or writing on the clothes would be because why? Because it attracts attention. So if it's some design that there is no problem, so nobody's going to pay attention where they're writing. So people would concentrate usually and try to read what it says there. Understand? That's absolutely wrong. I assume that the same is the back. I mean, if it's small, like a label from the company, like this metal label or leather tag or something, there's no problem. But sometimes it's too sparkling, too much. So our goal is not to attract attention. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that was the last question.
Okay. So let me just reset it quickly. Okay. So today is Thursday, so let's do one story. So we continue our book Varev now, and we started Parsha Truma, and our topic today is honoring commitment to tzedakah, and based on verses Shmos 25:2, it says, "Speak to Bnei Israel, and they take for me a donation." Okay, so let me see how long is it. Oh, okay. Beezrat HaShem should give us strength. Okay, so let's start. So it's a challenge. Reuven opened a Jewish bookstore. Oh, I remember that. Reuven opened a Jewish bookstore. On the very first day of the business, he received a visit from a custodian of the local tzedakah fund. The custodian described the plight of poor people in the community and listed several tragic cases which the tzedakah fund had committed to help. Reuven's heart was touched by these stories, and he promised to give 10% of the store's profits each month, as long as the store was in his possession. Okay, so I'm not going to read again, but because I remember the story. So the story goes like that. Reuven, businessman, opened a bookstore, right, in a neighborhood, of course, religious neighborhood, and these people who collect tzedakah, they come from to the businessman, right? So this guy came, local guy. He said, "You're local to our neighborhood, so please, please help us. We have some tragedies in our community. We need money." And the guy was touched and said, "Okay, as long." So he said, if first day he was very excited. Like it's good to make promises. So for example, I make the promise of tomorrow. If something is going to go like HaShem is going to make miracle, I make a nether. I make a nether. I'm going to donate large amount to tzedakah. That's it, right? So, and it's chances are small, but still we pray for the miracle. What happened tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Okay, so right. So he said, "Okay, I'm going to donate. I'm going to continue donating money as long as I have my store." So like this. Okay. So far so good. Reuven kept his promise. Each month, after the accountant settled the books, Reuven sent tzedakah fund check for exactly 10% of his profits. That's it, right? So he kept his words. This went for 2 years until Reuven decided to try luck in different business. He sold the bookstore and took up a different line of occupation, at which point he stopped sending money to tzedakah fund. Okay, Reuven was an honest person. He kept his promise for 2 years. While he had a store, he would send 10%. After 2 years, he changed his business, and of course, he stopped sending checks. Why? Because he said clearly, as long as I say I have this store, it belongs to me, so I'm going to give you 10%. Now he sold the store, no longer his, he stopped. So far so good, right? Not so fast. Another 2 years passed in the new business, and Reuven saw that the first business had been more successful than the second one. Ooh, wow. He contacted the new owner of the bookstore and made him a deal to buy the bag from him. After he resumed ownership of the bookstore, he received another visit from the custodian, remind him of the agreement. I'm sorry, said the Reuben. I agreed to give you 10% of my earnings as long as the store was in my possession. Our agreement ended when I sold the store. Since then, I committed to my tzedakah resources to other causes, and I cannot renew the agreement now that I have bought the store. Whoa, that's a thing we did not realize, we did not anticipate this, right? The Reuben said, let me buy the store back. He buys the store back, his original bookstore, and the guy comes, the tzedakah guy comes, and he said, okay, remember what we agreed? So you're owner of the store, and you have to honor your agreement. He said, I'm sorry. No, it's not like that. While I was the owner of the store, I was giving you tzedakah, right, correctly, whatever, right, exactly 10%. Then I was not the owner of the store. That's so when I sold in his mind, Reuben mind, right, when he sold the store, I'm no longer, this contract, this deal ended, period. So I'm no longer owner. So I bought it back, but it has nothing to do with the first one. So, but this guy is saying, right, this charity collector said, no, you are the owner of the store. It's exactly the same store. What are you talking about? So we can see both sides. Okay. Reuben and the custodian then sent the request to Rav to decide if Reuben's commitment still applies once he had sold the store and bought it back again, right? So, and plus Reuben said, I already committed to this 10% whatever to somebody else, so, like probably from his previous business. So I don't want to give it to you, right? Because I cannot afford it. It's not that want, I cannot afford. Okay. So because in Reuben's mind, his obligation ended when he sold the store. Solution. The first point that must be addressed is that if Reuben commitment was binding in the first place. Interesting. If person pledges to tzedakah something currently in his possession, he is certainly obligated to uphold his pledge. However, the Rishonim debate whether or not one is legally obligated to uphold pledge, donate money that he has not earned. Before we continue, so let's try to understand. So when you promise something that you have, is one thing, but you cannot promise something that you don't have. You understand? So he said, if I'm going to make this money, so he would make this condition, or he said, I'm going to pay you 10%. So whatever this promise is, that is not based on anything. You understand? So it's very interesting. So maybe the initial pledge was not binding. Okay. Rambam Hilchas Arachim V'Charamim 6 and Halachah 32 and 33 writes the following. One second, it was one note, I missed it. Oh no, I did not miss it. Okay, it says, if person declares, I pledge to give the poor the fruit that will grow from this field, or I pledge to give everything I earn this year to the Kohanim, or to rescue hostages, or any similar declaration, he must give as he promised when the produce or the money comes into his hands. Okay. So before we continue, so let's try to understand. So if a person declares, I pledge to give the poor the fruit that will grow in the field. So now that there's nothing in the field, so it's in a sense in the future. Or I pledge to give everything that I earned this year to the Kohanim or to rescue hostages. Meaning he's talking about non-existing money. Commentary. It was once common to Macedonian bandits to kidnap people and demand ransom. So that's in olden days, like they killed Jews left and right, unfortunately, right? For release them. The community would often have dedicate their tzedakah funds toward the Mitzvah of Pidyon Shvuim, redemption of the hostages. We did not have any other choice, right, to redeem hostages. Okay. So Rambam said, if he did this declaration about the future to give money, once he gets the money, he must pay. Okay, once produced the money comes into his hand. This is binding nether, pledge, right, and not a hekdesh. So quickly, what is Hegdesh? Hegdesh refers to designation of specific Abdesh to the Beis HaMikdash. This is binding nether and not a Hegdesh, okay? At which point the object takes a certain laws of sanctity. Rambam rules that one cannot concentrate as Hegdesh an object that has yet to come to one's possession. However, if he pledges to give when he gets it, the pledge is legally binding. So he cannot say that I'm pledging a cow to the Beis HaMikdash, right? Because I don't have a cow, right? But he can say when I get the cow, I'm going to consecrate it to the Beis HaMikdash. There is no problem. It's binding. Okay. So what does it mean? The sanctity has to come, has to rest on some specific physical object. Okay. A proof for this can be found in the case of Yaakov Avinu, who said in Bereshit 28:22, everything that you give me, you mean HaShem, I will separate double tithe from it to you, HaShem. Right? This commitment was considered nether, so even he did not have anything, right? But it was about future earnings, right? As it is written, Bereshit 31:13, I'm God of Beis El, where you consecrated a monument and where you made a vow to me. So meaning what? That HaShem said, it's the best proof that HaShem accepted the vow. Okay. So far, Rambam is saying that if person pledges something even he does not have now, but he said when I'm going to have a fruit on this field, it's going to be dedicated to poor people. If I'm going to have this, when I'm going to have this, it's going to be yours. So this is binding nether. Okay, continue. Elsewhere, Hilchas Mechira 22-17, Rambam writes, some Geonim argue that the poor takes possession of the donation in the same way as a normal person takes possession through the legal transfer of ownership, kinyan. Accordingly, they cannot take possession of the object that have not yet come into existence. Okay. I disagree with this comparison, since we are not commanded to sell, but we are commanded to uphold our pledges to tzedakah or to hagdish, just as we commanded to fulfill a nether. Okay, so let's see what Geonim said. Now it's a little difficult. I mean, we're going to explain. That's just HaShem. So here's the thing. Okay, so Geonim said, so in order for a poor person to become owner of this tzedakah money, it has to go through the person of kinyan. Kinyan, it has to be some kind of official transfer of ownership. Like, for example, when we learned the laws of tzedakah, and we said when somebody is collecting on behalf of somebody else, as soon as he got the money, so the poor person does not even know that this collector got the money, they automatically belongs to this poor person, automatically, right? Because it was that he got the money, but in his pocket, it's like a kinyan, right? Act of acquisition, right? Accordingly, they cannot take possession of objects that have not yet come into existence. That's why what our sages say, meaning that tzedakah that is promised in the future, right? The poor person cannot be owner, right? Because it's like in some sense it's like transaction, legal transaction. When you buy, like when you give somebody a gift, when you sell, give somebody a gift, that doesn't matter. So when somebody gets the thing that you sell them, or a person gets it for a free gift, they have to do act of acquisition, bring to their property, stuff like that. If a cow, they have to like pull it, and it has to like make few steps, etc. So Rambam said, I disagree with this comparison, said we are not commanded to sell, right? So he said it's not exactly like a buy and sell transaction, but we commanded to uphold our pledges to tzedakah, right? But it says it falls under different category as a pledges to tzedakah. So tzedakah meaning in the future, or hagdish. Hagdish is a consecration to something, to Beis HaMikdash. Okay, and we must fulfill nether. Continue. We're not finished. Rosh concurs with Geonim, right? That it should be like transaction. that just as a person cannot sell something that has not yet come into his possession, he cannot donate it either. So Rosh, like very, very clear. If I don't have it, so how can I sell it? Right? Today we say sell short, have the discussion, but technically, Jewish-wise, right? So it's not so simple. Okay, so I cannot sell something that I don't have. Tur Choshet Hamishpat 2:12. Accordingly, if one pledges to give money, he will earn to tzedakah. The tzedakah fund does not take possession money until he actually enters their hand. So again, if somebody just promised the money that he's going to make, he does not have this money. It's not like money he has at home that he's promising from the future income, right? So tzedakah funds does not take possession of the money until it's actually enters their hand. So then they're not an owner. Okay, so far so good. This debate between Rambam and Rosh is also a point of debate between Shulchan Aruch and Rema. So Shulchan Aruch is we know Rav Yosef Kara, right? And Rema is Moshe Isserlis, I think, right? So he's an Ashkenazi authority. So it's Choshen Hamishpat 2:12:7. Okay, so it says, Hekdesh tzedakah for poor and nedarim do not follow the normal rules of business transaction. Okay, so that's Shulchan Aruch. So Shulchan Aruch says they took the different sides. Okay, so some people say that so we go by Shulchan Aruch, yes, but many times remark he paskin exactly opposite of Shulchan Aruch. Many times, not always, but for example in a judgment and Choshen Hamishpat, a lot, exactly right, exactly opposite. Okay. Okay. So one more time, Hekdesh tzedakah for the poor and nedarim do not follow normal rules of business acquisition. Okay, right. So meaning it's not like business acquisition that you must have something that you're trying to sell me in your possession. Okay, if person states the offering my animal will produce. The offspring of my animal will produce, are thereby sanctified toward the upkeep of Beis Hamikdash, right? So meaning his cow is pregnant, right? And he said that this offspring that I'm going to get from this calf, I'm going to sanctify to Beis Hamikdash for upkeep. They're going to use for whatever needs they want. Okay, need. Okay. Or give to charity. So all of this, they do not automatically enter possession of the Beis Hamikdash or charity funds. So do not automatically enter like a simple logic because maybe this cow is going to miscarriage. Maybe this calf is going to die. Maybe this, maybe that, right? So we cannot automatically say that it's theirs. Since they do not yet exist at the time of the statement, nonetheless, he must keep his promise, as it is written, he shall do according to whatever his mouth has uttered. Bamidbar Torah, verse 3. So Shulchan Aruch says, so even though he cannot sanctify to the Beis Hamikdash something that does not exist, right? But still he must do as he said, because of the different verse, right? Different verse that whatever we say, whatever Jews say, leave your mouth, you have to uphold it. And many times or sometimes it's even if you're going to the detrimental to us, right, we're going to lose. Still, it's must held like it's going to be Kiddush HaShem, especially as the other side understand. Okay, so of course you can try to explain that you're losing. That's not what they want. But if they insist, let them have it. Rema comments. Some argue that Hekdesh or Tzedakah funds have no claim on the offspring, since the person cannot donate that which does not yet exist. Therefore, his words are null and void. So Shulchan Aruch says yes, in a sense that he must keep it, right? But Rema said no. Whatever he has does not make any sense. Okay, so null and void. The Rama refers specifically to the case of Shulchan Aruch, in which a person wishes to sanctify or give give it as a present that which does not yet exist. So he was to donate, which is to sanctify or give as or give that something at present does not yet exist. Okay, that's what we're talking about. This Rama, the Rama claims, is impossible. So how can you promise something if you don't have it? However, if person pledges to donate something at sometimes future date, he must fulfill his pledge, as Rama concludes. But if he says, when my animal give birth, so now we go going into condition. It's not like he said, I'm going to give. No, when my animal give birth, right? Or when the tree produces fruit, I will donate them to the Hagdash or the Tzedakah. So very, very simple. So when he said this condition, so now it's more logical, right? He must keep his word since it is binding nether. Okay. See also Shulchan Aruch, Yoreh Deah 204, Siv 9, Rabbi Akiva Eiger, same place, Tas, Yoreh Deah 215, section 4. Continue. Our case, so now like what we have to do? Our case of Reuven's bookstore, store parallels Rema last case. Since Reuven did not donate at the time of his vow profits that did not yet come into existence, but rather promised to give tzedakah from his future earnings each month, this is legally binding nether according to all opinions. So let's read it one more time. So let me see how it is. Wow. Okay, so let's do at least this part. In our case, Reuven took Reuven bookstore parallels the Rema last case. Since Reuven did not donate at the time of his vow profit. So he said in the future tense, right? That he did not yet come into existence, right? So, right, because there were nothing to donate. He just opened the store. It was second day or first day, but rather promised to give tzedakah from the future earnings each month, right? When I'm going to get money, from that amount I'm going to pay. So in this sense. So it was legally binding as a nether. So exactly as Rima said, right? When my animal is going to give birth, okay, no problem. I'm going to donate. So what time is it? You know, I apologize. It's a lot, so let's break it into parts, and we're going to continue. Beezrat HaShem, I'll try to do review next time. So let's try to finish the story. So that's what we said last time. Continue. So the topic is honor and commitment of tzedakah. Okay. So next section. So it is split in several sections. As long as I'm an owner, as long as I own the store, double quotes. That's what he's quote. However, the question still remains of how to interpret the Reuven's nether to give 10% as long as the store was in his possession, as we said. Technically, if you look from this person's perspective, he's correct. If you look from that person's perspective, he's correct. So he said, as long as I'm owner of the store. You are an owner of the store. What do you mean? And that guy said, no, I was an owner of the store, but then I sold it. I was, sometime, I was not an owner of the store. So this transaction, when I bought it back, my store, that's a totally different transaction. Very interesting. Okay. Does this nether still stands or no, right? Does his nether still apply after he sold the store and brought it back. This issue seems to be dependent on following Gemara Baba Basra 63a. Right, so everything you need to know is in the Gemara. You just need to know how to find it. So it says, if Levi sells his field to Israel on a condition that Israel gives him all Maser Rishon, tithe, that must be given to Levi, from it, the condition is valid. Okay, so let's try to understand what it says here. A regular Jew, Israel, has to pay, has to give 2% as a truma to Cohen, and then 10% Maser Rishon to Levi. Which Cohen, whatever he chooses Cohen. Which Levi, whatever Levi he chooses. It's his prerogative to give these gifts to whoever he chooses. So this Levi sold as a field as Israel and said, I'm going to sell it to you on one condition, that 10% that you own Levi, I'm that Levi. Right? So this all right, so this condition is valid. It's a good condition, right? So meaning, so maybe he even I'm just adding from myself, right? Maybe he's giving him a little discount, right? Because he's planning to have over this year to come this 10% of the crops. Okay, so continue. So this condition is good. Okay, if Levi stipulated that Israel must give him him Maser Rishon, this 10%, as long as the field in Israel's possession, and Israel then sells the field and buys it back, he no longer owes Maser Rishon to this particular Levi. Right? So exactly, I mean, don't draw any conclusions yet, but like situation very, very close to our situation. So Levi, as long as Levi owner of the field, he must pay. But if he sold to somebody else and bought it back, so you understand, it could be fictitious, trading, right? Maybe for 2 days, like or in the winter, nobody is working the field in the winter. Anyway, he sold it for 3 months, and after the winter he bought it back. Okay, so of course it's only in order to cheat the Levi. Or that doesn't matter. Or even if they're honest people, that doesn't matter. So, but this transaction, this second transaction, invalidates the agreement. So, okay. From here we see that as long as the field in my possession, so in double quotes, refers only the current state of ownership. Right? Clear. So, meaning this Reuven was right, the store owner. If he sells the field and then buys it back, the obligation no longer applies. Very clear. Similar Shulchan Aruch, Even Hazer 114:11 rules that if man marries a woman with a daughter and commits himself to support her daughter, as long as they are married and they are then divorced and remarry each other, then he need not to support the daughter. Okay, so that's actually it's from Shulchan Aruch. Rambam discuss it. It's very interesting. So a wife is a woman is a divorcee. She has a daughter from a previous marriage, and so when person marries her, so like he signs a ksuba that he is going to support only her, not her daughter. But it could be put in a ksuba, this condition, that she's agreed to marry him on a condition that he's going to support her daughter as long as she's living in a house. Right? Of course, if she get married, that's it. So now they got divorced, right, for whatever reason. So meaning that ksuba canceled, right, and they then marry again. So if they did not put this stipulation, a ksuba, that he is responsible to feed, to take care of her daughter, he's no longer responsible, right? Because it was in the original agreement. The Halachos Mechokek, section 12, right, explains that the source for this ruling is from Gemara cited above, meaning about the daughter. There we learn that as long as the field is in my possession, so this expression refers to the current state of ownership. Here too, as long as we are married, refers to the current state of marriage. So that marriage terminated, that's it. So it's a different marriage. Okay, so he is no longer is obligated to support her daughter. Perhaps the same may be said in our case. As long as I own the store refers only to the current state of ownership. But as you see in the case of the daughter, in the case of it's exactly the same daughter, right? In the case of a field, it's exactly the same field and exactly the same owner of the field and exactly the same husband. Everything is the same. So he said, so far he said perhaps. The same may be said in our case. As long as I own the store refers only to the current state of ownership. Once he sells the store and then buys it back, his nether no longer applies. So far looks everything very, very, very good. On the other hand, perhaps the comparison is faulty. In first two cases, he did not necessarily want to give Maser Rishon to this particular Levi, or support his daughter. That's a very interesting statement, right? In the first cases, so he wanted the field and he liked the discount that he was getting on the field, and he agreed to buy it, but he did not like this this Levi guy, right? For whatever reason, or in a case of the daughter. He did not want to support the daughter, but he wanted to marry this woman. So he was like forced in these two situations. He was forced, and he did something against his will. And now he had work around and to get rid of this agreement, and that's what he did. So he sold it to somebody else, the field, and bought it, and he's no longer obligated. And same with the daughter, right? The divorce and remarry again. So right, continue. He agreed to do so only because the Levi and the wife demanded this part of the deal. Okay, exactly as we explained. His agreement was limited to the deal alone, namely the state of the ownership of the marriage. So as soon as he sold the field or divorced the woman, he ended their contract. So that was like between them, right? That's the straightforward understanding of the situation. I think from the situation of the field. So when he was buying from Levi, so it was a contract between him and Levi, and Levi could stipulate that. Now he sold to somebody else, to Dan, and now he's buying from Dan. That's a different story. Levi has nothing to do with that. He's not obligated to pay. With the marriage, is a little different because it is the same woman and she would have the same wishes, right? That her daughter would be supported. But in case of the field, Levi has no connection to the field. That's it. Okay. Okay. When he bought the field or remarried the woman, he entered into a new agreement for sure, and there was no reason to suppose that he would undertake the same obligation. So that's very good point, valid point. So since he was forced into this situation to begin with, and since the second contract did not say anything about this extra stipulation, that's all. So he was. We cannot assume that he had the same stipulation, right? The same intention. One second. So one time the whole sentence. It is reasonable to presume that he meant to limit the obligation, his obligation as much as possible. So no, that's new sentence, right? So he saw the opportunity that the wife would be too excited to marry him again, then she would forget to include her girl. So that's what he did. Okay, is it proper? I mean, if you want a peace in the family, you're not going to feed your daughter. Okay, so she's going to steal from you and feed her daughter. Like, don't be stupid, basically, right? Therefore, we cannot extend his obligation past the initial state of the ownership or marriage. Right? So very, very simple, very, very straightforward. Right? So he did not like this obligation to begin with. So now, like when he can get rid of them, so we don't expect him to uphold them, like voluntarily. In our case, however, Reuven willingly made tzedakah, pledge, out of the goodness of his heart, expected nothing in return. That's very interesting, right? It is therefore reasonable to presume that his generosity extended to any time in which the store would be in his possession, even if he were to sell it or rebuy it. So that's very interesting point. So in this case, he was not forced. I mean, in my mind, so some of these tzedakah people, they very pushy, like very, very pushy. Like they be nice, they're polite, but they very, very pushy. Okay, so but that's not what it says here. It says here that he did it out of willingness of his heart. So maybe he was planning would be planning to continue. But on one hand, when this person came, so he showed so he's not willing to continue. So how can you assume, like, how do you presume if he's telling now that's not what I want? Okay. Right. So next piece is called section charity. This charity or another. So technically, you can switch the charity. Having established that tzedakah neder based on the future profits is binding. So we said that, and the original neder may be applied even after he has sold and rebought the store, meaning that he said, I want to give 10% from the income of the store. So far, so good, right? The question remains, does this neder obligate him to give tzedakah to this particular tzedakah fund, or may he give to another charitable cause? Okay. So yes, I said that I'm going to give 10% as long as I'm having this store, and I'm planning to continue that. But can I give it to somebody else? Right? That's prerogative of the person, like owner of the money, as we are learning in a book of Tzedakah Maser, right? So he decides whom to give. Of course, there is Halachah, there's a guidelines, but it's his decision. Okay. So continue. The poskim debate whether a person who made neder to give charity to a certain pauper may then decide to give it money to a different pauper instead. See Machane Ephraim, Hilchas Tzedakah 7. Okay, so we actually discussed that book as well. Rav Yitzchak Etinga, Teshuvas Macharia, Halevi, Volume 1, Chapter 12, explained that this debate applies only when the donor already had the tzedakah money in his possession when he made the pledge. In that case, there is room to say that the money immediately went to the possession of the first pauper as soon as the pledge was made. Right? So, but we said before last Thursday. So, if you don't have money, so that's the neder might not be binding, right? Unlike normal business deals, tzedakah pledge do not depend on a kinyan acquisition. So, as soon as like he has money, and it was promised to that person, so it's like he already got it, right? So it does not depend on a Kenyan maybe to lift it or do something that to show that the money belongs to this person, or money or articles. As soon as he pledged to give tzedakah to a certain pauper, the pauper immediately took possession of the money. Took possession like in a legal sense, in halachic sense. The money is still with the owner. He must pay. However, if the donor did not have the money, so it's not nothing tangible, right? But pledges to give as soon as he earned it, then the poor person did not actually take possession yet, since one cannot possess something that does not yet exist. So you cannot. That's very important rule. You cannot be an owner of something that does not exist in the world, right? So you cannot basically to put your unborn child in your will, right? Because he's not there. Rather, the donor is obligated to give the money in order to fulfill his nether to give tzedakah, right? So meaning in general. In such a case, he may fulfill nether by giving tzedakah to whoever he pleases. So if he had money and he pledged to give to that poor person, it's like that person already got it. But if he said, I'm going to give money, but he does not have this money, like he might have the personal money, but here the intention was that the money that from future profits. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so those money they did not exist. Okay. In summary, Reuven Nether had an obligation to this particular tzedakah fund. Okay, he could have given to any tzedakah because he chose, right? Thus, even if Nether to give tzedakah was reinstated when he rebought the store, he may give his tzedakah to whoever he wants, right? I mean that's very clear. So let's explain in our words one more time. So Reuven gave the nether. He made the nether. He made the nether not under the duress. Nobody forced him, right? Because of willingness of his heart. That's how our case is different from the field and from this wife's daughter, right? When he was forced. So now he got the store back, and looks like he's obligated to give this 10% from his profits. But since we're talking about future earnings, he can distribute tzedakah any way he wants. This lends to another interesting question on the subject of tzedakah pledges. I guess we can stop here because it is a different story. Just quickly, I remember the story. Yes, yeah, I mean, it's a different story, so Bezrat HaShem, we leave it for the next time. Okay, so again, so the bottom line, he's obligated to give, right? But he's obligated to give only to whoever he wants. Nobody can force him. Because when he's making this nether, so it was about future money, not whatever he has in his possession right now to prepare, because it's like it's less than a half. Okay. Any questions on what we said? Any topic? Go ahead.
Since one isn't obligated to fulfill a nether for money that he didn't have at the time, unless he stipulates that.
So when
he has it. But we also learned that for any nethering you make, you're not obligated to fulfill any of them if it's in your thoughts, unless it's for tzedakah. Does that mean that you have to have that format in your mind in order to be obligated to pay the tzedakah retroactively?
Meaning what? Like
the format, you have to say at this time in your head, if I have the money, then I'll give tzedakah. You can't just say I'll give tzedakah when I win the lottery without having that specific in mind.
No, if only it's going to be from a new money. So if you have this money, for example, you promised $200 to tzedakah, like and you said at the end of the month, like I'm going to pay. So you have the money now. You can give now. There is no problem. So, but here they say it has not, like, for example, you even have this $200 from tzedakah that you own. You don't have anybody to give, for example. So you have your own money in home. So, but you say no, I'm going to only give from the future earnings. So that's the thing. So if I'm going to give in the future, right, So that's one thing. So, but basically, and another thing, even if it's not halachically binding, like the promise, so they say still, like do according to what your mouth said. So it's proper if you said it out loud, or even if as you said think, but not everybody agree with the thought. But for sure, everybody agree if you said out loud. So just keep your word. So maybe it's not nether, but it's like it's only technicality, but it still left your mouth. So, especially if other side heard it, so yeah, have to keep it. Okay.
Thank you for follow-up, and also for regards to the dispute between, or the difference in opinion between Shulchan Aruch and the Lema about whether you have to fulfill the pledge for your parents. Since this is specifically in regards to making the parents nether, does that mean that in regards to honoring the parents or fearing your parents, you would still have to pay?
What's that? How did we switch to parents? I didn't get, sorry.
When you were saying that the Shulchan Aruch was saying that you have to pay, you should still pay the tzedakah, that if your parents had, like, my kid will pay so and such amount in the future.
Did they say parents? I don't remember saying parents.
Like, I thought I heard that if the parents passed away.
Oh, if parents, but I mean, but it's not from today. Possession funds existent. They say it's offspring of my animals. Like they did not say anything about. No, there was no like. It's a different story. It's a different story. I don't remember. Did we say it again? Like before, if children are obligated to uphold whatever this parents promise, and in most cases yes, in some cases no. There is some exceptions. So it's not so simple, right?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Or that's it. Okay, so all right, so let's stop here. I'm a little tired for HaShem. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for learning. It was an amazing week. Baruch Hashem, we learned a lot, and we should continue next week. Beezrat Hashem, same time. So for a few weeks, I think we could keep it the same time. Then we'll see. Maybe we have to adjust a little bit, in 15 minutes or so, because we'll see. Beezrat Hashem. So have a good Shabbos, everybody, and until Monday. Thank you. Good night.